To start off a game, Konami have released a batch of Magical Dribblers Nominating Contract players, so today I'm going to give you training guides to find the best builds for these players, what skills I'd recommend, a review from my own experience with the cards and also my viewers' experiences to help you determine which ones you should purchase with your nominating contracts, or if you've already made purchases like I have here, how to make them perform at the best of their abilities. Starting off with the goalkeeper, we'll look at Ter Stegen. This guy is useless. eFootball 25 goalkeepers have been nerfed, but I feel like this guy's been double nerfed. Now, obviously, he does have the double touch, flip flap, and solo control, but realistically, you're not going to be using that too often. So, if you want to know how this guy is in terms of his effectiveness, I think he's terrible. I've got clips playing over now. Some of them are from my own perspective, some of them are going to be from my opponents when they're using Ter Stegen, and I feel like anytime I see Ter Stegen in my opponent's net, I know I'm just going to let it rip and just start hitting more shots than usual because he doesn't seem to save anything. And someone has just subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you, Logue Swear. PS, I appreciate it. This isn't the build I used. I actually did use a build with a little bit less on the goalkeeping stats. It was goalkeeping 3, and then we put 4 points into dribbling. I wouldn't recommend it. I would go into that. That might explain a little bit why I thought he was so bad in goals, but again, my opponents were using them too, and I noticed how weak Ter Stegen was for them as well. So this is the build I'd go for. If you have got him already, trying to salvage the card, I would recommend steering clear. It is a gimmick, you know, with double touch. Maybe you want that. It's a bit of fun. Have some fun. But if you want to use him for being effective, definitely not the player to go for. Next player we'll look at is Vitinha, and I think this guy looked like the best player in the pack. And I think from the players I've used, he would be the best player. He was very good. I've used this guy for years now on eFootball, and I think even back in PES I would have been using him. He's 24. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he's definitely someone I've used in eFootball a lot. And actually watching him in the Euros for Portugal, I thought it kind of did remind me of how he played in game, and I was excited when I seen him first release because I actually did think he was good in the Euros. This is the build I went for. I don't think you can really go for anything else, because the passing, we actually have a kind of useless point in the passing. I always recommend 88 as the highest low pass, although you do get the lofted pass, so you could take 1 point off passing and maybe put into aerial, but I don't know, put the extra point in, get the 85 lofted pass too. We look at his skills. He's got double touch, Marseille turn, solo control, one touch pass, true passing, and that's kind of the main ones you would look for this type of orchestrator. He is missing interception. You're definitely going to need to give him that. Although I didn't seem like I had major issues with his defensive ability when I used him. His outside curler was useful when he was going forward. He doesn't have the highest finishing. He does have decent kicking power though, so he can hit them on, you know, a normal shot and also an outside curler too. So overall a good player. Not great weak foot, only the medium weak foot accuracy. So the skills you're going to want to be looking for him on, I think I said that a bit weirdly, are interception, then flip flap to get that double touch solo control flip flap combo, so you can kind of replicate what we have with Ter Stegen, I guess. Then cut behind and turn. I love cut behind and turn orchestrators. I do think this guy is missing that. And then I'd probably go for weighted pass and track back. I wouldn't go for low lofted pass because low lofted pass is usually for these type of players that are deeper, and there's 2 reasons why. You know, you might want low lofted pass on an orchestrator, but not this Vitinha. For one, he can't play DMF, so you know he's not going to be as deep, and 2, he is very comfortable operating in this area of the pitch up here, so that's where you're going to get your most use out of him. And it's kind of obvious when you look at his dribbling stats that he's going to be that type of player, so I would avoid low lofted pass. You're not going to get as much use out of it as if compared to using weighted pass. Okay, so the next player I used was John Stones. I was actually very interested in this guy when I was using him. I was using him on stream. People were asking what skills I put on him. I didn't put any skills on him because I wanted to judge him before I put skills on to see how he'd perform. So I can say using him without skills he's a bit of a liability without the skills. And if you're looking at his skills, you can see that he is missing a lot of the defensive ones. The only defensive ones he has are interception and sliding tackle. In terms of his ability on the ball, I didn't think there was any issues with his dribbling, and I didn't think his passing was out of his world. But to be honest, I don't remember trying too many of the crazy passes. So maybe if I had, I would have liked it. But if we compare him to Vieira, who's one of my greater passing centre backs, and also Beckenbauer, you can see Beckenbauer has much more in the passing stats as well as Vieira, so he is going to be a bit behind them. Skills you're going to need to give him are acrobatic clearance, aerial superiority, and blocker. They're going to be needed for the centre back. And then after that, I don't know, maybe a cut behind and turn or a gamesmanship for his on the ball abilities, but you probably should prioritize his passing ability, so you're going to want to go for one touch pass and true pass instead. With all that in mind, I think I would skip this guy, and if you want the ball playing centre back, you'd be better off just using this Beckenbauer that most of you will have. Some of you won't have Beckenbauer, but if you have Beckenbauer, stick to him. If you want kind of a Beckenbauer type of player, I mean, John Stones, he's not as good, but if Beckenbauer is like a 9 out of 10 for this kind of build-up centre-back on the ball ability, I'd say John Stones is like a 7 once you get the skills on him. Before the skills, he's like a 5. So it's only a player you're going to use with success, I feel, if you get some skills on him. Next player we'll look at is Madueke. I think that's how you say it. I think he looks not amazing. I can see why people would like him, but I don't think he has enough finishing. I need my players to, you know, if they're a dribbler, they have to have good end product. And on top of that, his tight possession actually isn't that high. So his tight possession is going to lag behind the 2 other dribbling stats. So even if he doesn't have end product, I feel like he doesn't have great, or rather out of this world dribbling either, to kind of compensate for that. But King Dre, one of my viewers, not Dr. Dre, sent me a clip of this Madueke, and it kind of does go to show, sorry, we'll rewind it there to get rid of the blur. It does kind of show the type of player he is on this wide area, and I think the reason he scores this goal is because he has lots of space to dribble into. The tight possession isn't as necessary, so when you have this type of space, that will be effective. It was honestly a great goal from here, particularly this dribble to get by Vieira was very well timed. That little touch there, that's amazing. And then he actually, I was saying he doesn't have end product, but he did put it in the back of the net there. Although I think that might be because goalkeepers have been nerfed so much. I feel like if Konami update the game and change goalkeepers, which I think they should, I think they should leave most of the game untouched. I like it at the moment. I do think goalkeepers need to be made stronger again, just a little bit, because I don't think with Madueke, he should be scoring that type of goal very consistently. There's nothing wrong with it going in very rarely, but I feel like it's going in very often. And this is the build I would go for. It's very similar to the Wildcat. We actually just take off 1 dexterity, take off the pass and put it into shooting. So he's not going to be a terrible player. We have these new things on eFootball Hub: jump height, dribble height, upper body radius and lower body radius. So I don't exactly know what these are going to do at the moment. I'm going to look into it after recording this video and hopefully have a video up to explain what these mean and give you guidance on how these guys, in terms of their player ID, will perform in the game. Pez Pepe actually did a very good video on this topic. eFootball Hub didn't have the data published when he made this video, so he did it kind of before that. But I actually would say this video here from Vieira, about Vieira rather, inspired eFootball Hub to kind of make that update to their website. And this video explains, in terms of player ID, why Vieira is so much more effective at intercepting than some of their players. So if you want to know more about that side of the game, check that video out. I'll leave a link in the description. So for the skills for Madueke, I would give him acrobatic finishing, flip flap and soul control, just because he is that kind of dribbler player. You want to make that as strong as possible. True pass, all my players have true pass. And then for that last skill, I would probably go for long range shooting, similar to that goal we just seen there. We're trying to recreate that, although you could also go for a super sub or a gamesmanship. So super sub if you think he's going to be on the bench, and then gamesmanship again just to make that dribbling, which is his main strength, even stronger. Next player is Nelson Semedo. I don't think this guy is too impressive, honestly. Look at his skills, he doesn't have many. His stats wise, he doesn't look too bad. I have 2 builds for him. So this one is, if you want him to get that physical contact up to 70, you can actually take off 1 point and get that and put it into passing or shooting. I don't think it's necessary. They're not going to make a major improvement. I just went for the aerial. So this is kind of more of a physical defensive build, although you can do a more pure defensive build if you take off the aerial points and put it in defending, and that way you're going to get the tackle into 85 to get that +3 for the 88. So he's actually got good tackling and aggression stats. I would have a feeling that this guy will be very convincing going into the tackle, because tackling, in my opinion, this is, I don't have like any proof of this, but this is my interpretation after playing the game for thousands of hours. Aggression is how quickly your player runs in to press the opponent, / tackle, how quickly their tackle goes in, and then the tackling stat is kind of the distance at which tackling can be performed successfully. So if you have high in both of them, if you do manual tackles, you should be very effective. And then skills wise, you want to give him flip flap. He has double touch and soul control already. You're going to need to put interception on him. I would put aerial strength on him, particularly if you did that build with a little bit of the, put aerial superiority on him if you did that build with a bit of aerial strength. And then a true passing, 1-touch pass, or fighting spirit. You can make a decision on which one you want to go for. You can see you can train him left back and centre back. I definitely wouldn't play this guy centre back, but even in a back 3 on the outside, I don't think he'll be physical enough. But left back he'll be good because he's right footed. I do think with the type of dribbling ability he has, he will be good on that left back, drifting into the middle. And then the last player is Isco. I used to love this guy back in PES 16 or 18, I think. It might have been 16. Very good player. Back then, Doesn't look amazing now, as in he doesn't look as good as he did back then, but I do think there is still some merit to this card. You can see his build here. He looks quite decent. Great dribbling, good passing. Maybe the loft pass could be a bit higher. His finishing's okay for an attacking midfielder, but the high curl will make it a little bit better. Unfortunately, the kick and power is a bit lower, so you're going to want to do kind of curl shots with him a bit more often. Great balance, acceleration is met, and his speed is pretty weak. But I wouldn't be too worried about that, because you should be worried about it if you rely on pace when you dribble. I wouldn't rely on the pace with every player. I feel like this guy would be great, mainly an attacking midfielder. If you play him left wing, maybe a bit of cut inside action, but if you play him right wing, right mid, or left mid, you will need more speed, so he wouldn't be good there, even though he can play there. But as a playmaker in the middle, attacking midfielder, kind of like a classic 10, you'd imagine they would perform like. This guy could be quite decent. Skills for Isco. Realistically, he actually starts off with very good skills. You don't need to put too much on him. I do think first time shot and acrobatic finishing would be good. If you have them two on him, I think he's pretty much the perfect player in terms of his skills for an attacking midfielder. I guess he is missing long range shooting, so you could put that on him. Outside curler wouldn't be bad either. He has got high weak foot, so I wouldn't be too worried about his left foot, but his kick and power makes it so if you do a knock-on finesse at range with him on his left foot, it's probably not going to be too strong, so I wouldn't mind putting outside curler on him for them closer range shots. And the last skill, you probably go for gamesmanship because he is such a good dribbler. So overall, the pack, I don't think it's a great one. I think Vitinha, you can't go too wrong with him. John Stones, obviously, you need to put the skills in, like I said. And anyway, Beckenbauer is probably a better option than him. So it's actually interesting. If I had to recommend players, if I had to recommend 3 players, I'd say Vitinha, Isco, and Madueke. They're 2 of them are the ones I didn't go for, the ones I didn't identify as good beforehand. Well, I kind of had a feeling Ter Stegen wouldn't be amazing. I only wanted him because of the double touch gimmick, and I kind of knew Stones actually wouldn't be good without the skills. But after having another look at it, I don't think Beckenbauer is the better option. So the pack expires in 22 days. If you have nominating contracts that expire further than 22 days out, 5-star ones, I would just hold on to them, honestly. But if they do expire in the meantime, between the 22 days, you definitely probably should just sign one of them, even if you're going to release them. In this pack here, you do have some 5-star players. Edin Dzeko is really good in this game, but he is a target man, so it's hard to make that work. And they don't do the Turkish League events anymore. If they bring that back, it'd be good. And then the 5-star player in this pack, I mean, he looks like a bit of a target man, but he is down as a fox in the box, which is better. But then again, I don't think we've had Brazilian events in a while. In Europe anyway, I think the other regions get them. So I think if you have nominating contracts expiring within 22 days, sign someone in this pack. Probably expect, though, you might release them for GP.